This is a bit of an inference question. So, you might have to go a little beyond the passage, right? It's strongly supported by the text. So, all right, let's see what we got. And we're interested in the deismo. Well, I'm not going to bother pronouncing that, this thing. Okay, poetry and classical nahuatl, the language of the Aztec Empire, relies on deismo, or parallel noun construction that conventionally operates as a single metaphor. For example, the common deismo, this thing, literally the eagle, the jaguar, signifies warrior. The device's function is both formal, providing structure to lines of verse, so structure, and ritual. Semantic relations among the two nouns and the concept they signify can be tenuous, meaning weak, as in the previous example, such that deismos are often only intelligible according to the conceptual associations observed in Aztec ceremonial culture. So only intelligible from the culture. Cool. So notice strong words here that I'm noticing as I go. Remember you can highlight things as you read in the Blue Book app, so do that. Let's now see what the choices say. I don't have a strong dumb summary here. I kind of just picked up the things that they seem to be saying are important, and I'll see if they rephrase that in some way in these choices. So its metaphorical significance derives from the semantic equivalence of the two nouns constituting the deismo. So equivalence is a quantifier word, so I definitely noticed it right away. And if I recall correctly, the whole point was that they're saying that they aren't the same thing, right? Providing structure and ritual. Okay, tenuous. Oh, duh, the word I defined for you guys, right? They're saying the relation is tenuous, is weak. So this is saying they're equivalent. They're not equivalent. So it said that. Now you might be like, oh, eagle and jaguar, they're both animals that are strong and fierce, but that's you. That's not what they said. The passage is saying they are not equivalent. So we've got to follow what they're saying there. B, its unintelligibility may cause its formal functions within a line of verse to go unnoticed by present-day readers. I don't know. I don't know that they say that. They definitely talk about the formal function. They talk about being unintelligible. If I'm a present-day reader, I probably don't understand the Aztec culture, so that seems okay. I don't know, though, that the fact that I can't understand it is causing me to miss the formal function. They didn't really relate those two things in the passage. They're just two things that the deismo does. They didn't say how intertwined they are, so I don't love that. Let's look at C. Its apparent obscurity can be resolved when considered in the proper cultural context. Obscurity means unintelligibility, so of course the SAT is doing its most classic thing there, is it's saying the same thing but using a different word. So its obscurity, it's the fact we can't understand it, can be resolved when considered in the proper cultural context. Well, maybe because it's only intelligible when you're in the Aztec ceremonial culture. So if you put it in that context, then it'll be intelligible. It won't be obscure. I don't know. D, its frequency in classical nahuatl poetry confirms its intelligibility to the Aztec audience. Do they talk about how frequent it is? This is another quantifier, right? And confirm is an idea of necessity, right? It needs to be true. It needs to be proven without a doubt. And I just don't feel like we're getting that. I don't remember reading that. I don't know how frequent it is. They just said what it is. They didn't say that they do it a lot. Maybe they did it like 3 times. I have no idea. So that's gone. Now between B and C, B is stronger. I'm looking for that wedge. I'm looking to drive these two things apart. What makes them different? They both talk about the obscurity. B is saying that it's making it so we can't understand the formal pieces. I just don't see that, right? It provides structure. I don't know why I wouldn't be able to understand the structure if I just didn't understand the metaphor. That seems like a different thing. Whereas C is just kind of focusing on that obscurity piece, right? Okay, I don't understand it, but if I were an Aztec priest, I would understand it. I feel like that's what they're saying. It's only intelligible, right? That's a strong phrase too. That I notice. Now, if I saw that in an answer choice, I'd be nervous, but in a passage, it's giving me a really extreme idea, and I think it's probably going to be important. So it's basically, we're flipping that idea. It's not intelligible unless you're in the culture. So it's resolved. It becomes intelligible when you are in the culture, when you're in that context. So C is the answer here. I don't think this is the worst question, but I do feel like B is very tempting because many of you think of a summary as something that includes as much detail as possible from the passage. So you look at B and you're like, oh, it includes both of the details, but C only includes one. So you're like, oh, but B is better. But it's the relationships that matter, and B is relating these two things in a way that wasn't talked about in the passage. So we always have to think deeper. It's not just about nouns appearing in the passage and appearing in the choices. It's about verbs, it's about adjectives, about relationships and descriptions. So we've got to be careful with that. So if you're looking for those things, I do think that C is more noticeably a better choice. Hopefully you agree.